Hi there, I'm Bea, a mixed media artist. Join me as I explore art and creativity, one project at a time.
Well, hello everybody, welcome back to my studio. So glad you joined me today for another video. I hope you are all doing well. As you have already seen in the thumbnail or in the title, it is about the Flipthrough, a junk journal, or what I call it, a trash to treasure journal, because in the end we do have a little treasure in the hand, don't we? Anyway, let's start with this piece here, which is actually, I don't know whether you can read it. Let's see. Maybe you can guess it. There was a art journaling retreat which I organized in nearby location here, and it is Bea and has some leaf pieces that is some of the participants gave me that as a gift. So I decided to use that on this as sort of a dangle. Now I'm gonna switch and zoom in a little bit so you can see more details, hopefully. Now, I made this junk journal as a base. I had a fashion catalog. For those who want to know, it's the Gudrun Sjödén fashion catalog. They have recycling paper, and it's not glossy like other catalogs. And because it's a recycling paper, it's a little bit of a thicker paper. So I really like to reuse those fashion catalogs from Gudrun Sjödén. There are others out there, like we have a garden from a nursery, a garden journal, which is also made from recycling paper, which also makes nice sturdy base for junk journals or trash to treasure journals. I did add a lot of roll-off papers from jelly print, pieces of envelopes, simply just leftover papers, additionally to the existing page from this mini catalog I had. As you maybe can see, yeah, you can see it, I did also use sewing with the sewing machine in this journal quite a bit. Just did sew together 2 pages of this catalog just to make it a little bit sturdier for the cover. Here I did left this lady, but then I added some gesso and did use, like, I think it was the, what was it called? I did use the micron to sketch in the figure and the face, and then went in with some watercolors. And I did also add the quote, "Trust the timing of your life," which is, I do print a lot of my own quotes. Yeah, that's what I did here. And I did, by the way, print it on some tissue paper. Now the inside of the page is actually a Tyvek envelope from a magazine I used to subscribe years ago, Ornament. Not sure if they still exist. It is an American magazine about jewelry, personal adornment, as they say here, which I have colored a long time ago with either fluid acrylic or normal acrylic. I don't know, soft body acrylic. I have no idea because I did that quite a while ago. For a while I was obsessed with playing with Tyvek and heating it up and all those good stuff. Then I did add, just from magazines, some nice patterns. Here again I did some sewing. I actually did sew in this page, or flap, or whatever you want to call it. So I was very colorful on this side, made with negative sort of a figure and some bubbles, because I have here a roll of paper from jelly print where I did turn it into an underwater scene, with some of my washi stickers and my stamps from the mermaid collection, and this is actually from a magazine, 100% Bubbles. This is again a jelly print that, well, it wasn't really big, so I did turn it in by drawing in sort of a bird. I mean, don't ask me what kind of bird it is. This is just an invented bird, let's put it that way. Now, I started this junk journal, I think, last January, something around this time, because I did take it with me to the consumer show for crafts, where I had a booth and did demonstrate a little bit junk journaling. So I know I did that in beginning March. It's again, the background is some acrylic paint, and I added some collage. I did mostly collage or coloring in with the watercolor during those 3 days of this craft fair show, whatever you want to call it. So I used a lot of German for once, because yeah, it is the German part in Switzerland where the show is. It's called Crea Fair if you're interested. I'm gonna be there and next February again, end of February. So Geschichtenerzähler, Storyteller, Blick hinter die Kulissen, a peek behind the scenes. Those are some of my stamps where I did color it there, and as you can see, it was part of an envelope which came in blue, which is rarely. Most of them they are white, but I thought, oh, this is nice, I'm going to use that in my junk journal, Trash to Treasure journal. On the back side again, I did some collage with washi tape, magazine pieces. That is actually a piece from my stencils. When I do stencils, I do print it out, test it a little bit and look at if I like the proportion and things like that. And then I don't want to waste those papers, so I keep them and add them to my journals whenever I feel like. In the background there is a doily. This is again one of my stamps. I just added the antennas, and then I have the quote again from a magazine, Friendly Alien. The background, I don't know whether you can see it, but it is the image of a mushroom. Now again, I did sew in this part here, this flap, and on this part I have Der Frühling macht Freude. Spring is makes you happy, something like that. And I had, because it wasn't spring when I did that, and I did add a little bit of. This is actually my aunt. This is not a photo of my aunt which I took picture. It is a painting of my aunt, which I use in other journals too. You're gonna see that later, and. Yeah, and that was, you probably can see it from a flower. Again, I did add a flap. That was a jelly print that didn't work out so well. I added this piece from a magazine, this brush. And these are those sketches I do sometimes on leftover papers. Just sketch them with pencil and then color them in with watercolor or gouache or whatever. And then I have them floating around in my studio, so from time to time I just add them to my journals. Again, that is a page which I made at the craft fair. Der Sommer ist pink, summer is pink, and I added a little bit of a heart. It's one of my washi sticker, that was a hand-drawn heart. The figure is till about here is a stamp, and then I just elongated it to make a dress and did add the stars. The background again is from a magazine. This is a page where I just added some gesso to hide a little bit the text. I don't know whether you can see it. You still can see it a little bit, and also you can see it down here. So, but it was a lot of green, so a lot of empty space, and I decided to sketch a face and add some color, again, either with watercolor or gouache, I just don't remember. A little butterfly from a ribbon. Say yes to new things. I do have, by the way, over on Coffee, some PDF files with quotes and words which you can download for free if you like. Again, I did use the sewing machine to add this pocket, which again is one of my jelly prints, which, you know, some work, some don't work. And this is actually a packaging from, I think it's Carabelle, where I did cover up with some jelly print again, and then did draw the face, and probably used either the Derwent. I do have Derwent washable pencil. That's what I used probably for the highlights. I used, as always, either a Posca pen or a gel pen, a white gel pen. I just wanted to cover up the things from Corabel, so I did add a little piece of a magazine. Adventures in Color is again one of my PDF files with words and quotes. On the back side, I did use, first of all, I did use gesso to cover up everything, and then those are from magazines, and then I wanted to mimic a little bit the things I had here with some water-soluble medium, which I did use to draw and paint a face. The background is from a newspaper we have here, a small one. And the backside, I'm pretty sure this is a video, a YouTube video. If I can find it, I will link it down below in the description. Or maybe even at the end of the video where I have see more videos, something like that. The background is again a roll of paper, but this time on a newspaper again, the same newspaper. So I did use, sometimes I use those as roll of papers. Then I did add a little bit of a map, a little bit of fabric, some magazine cutouts. That's from a rose book with roses. That is one of my own doodles. That is one of those Dresden metal pieces which you actually can dye very nicely with alcohol ink. And then a little quote from the magazine again, Irreal schön, unreal beauty. Just a piece of, this was by the way from an old dictionary where I did use as the base for the page. Then I have a piece from a magazine, and I did add some stamping. I do have some hand-carved stamps which have these kind of patterns. This is one of the pictures I took at the castle Neuschwanstein, and I did manipulate it in Photoshop at that time. I still had Photoshop. Nowadays I use Affinity Photo. And then I did add some, I do have rubber stamps, they are still available on my page, with these flying birds. A piece of a magazine page with water, some of my washi stickers, and then from my collage papers, the Mermaid Fairy, and this part is also in the collage paper from the Mermaid Fairy collection. The background was a page like that. So I added one of my stamps, a rubber stamp, I think, yes, a rubber stamp, with the bird and the twig, just added that. And then ein einfacher Zweig ist dem Vogel lieber als ein goldener Käfig. A simple branch is preferable to a golden cage for a bird. You will know all that. Then, yeah, here I was stuck a little bit. I just didn't do anything. I just thought I'm gonna add some colors and just left it as it is. This is again the magazine page, and this part is from the magazine itself. I just added a head. Let's go a little bit down here. Added the head and one of my stamps, and then another of my stamps I did use as flap. And the quote, different does not mean wrong, which I printed again from my PDF files on a coffee dyed paper. Here I went crazy with collage, all from jelly prints that just didn't work out for me, so as a single piece, so I did cut it up and made a little kitty and then a bird, put a bird on it. Again, that is one of my jelly prints that didn't work out so well for me. I just simply drew in with the oil-based charcoal a face, did add a little bit of color and did add, I don't know whether you can see it, the the words handwritten "you count." For this one, I know for sure it is a YouTube video because yeah, I remember this word, which is a little bit dangerous on YouTube. Now, you don't, maybe you can see it a little bit. This used to be, oh, there's a lot of glare. I have to hold it somewhat like that, I guess. Now, this one is the outer bag for the cat food, so it was all silvery, and I tried out to add alcohol ink, and then whenever you have a little bit of too much alcohol ink, you can use your mylar foils, your pretty foils, and rip it off. So those are from the foils. This is from from the Mermaid release. I'm so fishicated. That's a stamp. Also those fishes are stamps. Now on this side, because there was a lot of advertisement for the cat food, I did add one of my handmade colored pages. This is again a stamp which I did use. That is a stamp I have bought years ago, at least 10, 12 years ago in America in a thrift store. So I have no idea what it is, what kind of brand it is. I just don't know. My own stamps, and if you are lucky enough to be different, never change, was actually printed on a thin piece of fabric. I like that. That's a transfer of one of my 100-day sketching of crows, ravens and magpies. I hope that this February I can join again. This is an old dictionary page, the same over here, of course. And then I did try the tape transfer. I haven't done that in a while again, and some of my stickers from my paintings. Here I just did use the figure from the magazine page itself and did gesso around. Did use one of my collage papers where I did color in those butterfly wings. This is one of those tapes where I did use the alcohol ink, and then I did add the quote, "Courage doesn't mean you don't fear, it means you push forward anyway." Again, here I did add a lot of gesso and was sketching a little bit with sunflowers, just with the pencil and watercolor and some Derwent Inktense pencils. I tried to be normal, but being me is more fun. I totally agree to that. I did use one of my last release, the Mix, Match and Create, where you can put together your own girl with the legs are separate, the dress is separate, and there are two different hats, and even the hats from the previous stamp collection works with this dress. A little butterfly also, a little bow, and I did hand draw the star here. That is a close-up photo from one of my seniors, which I run through Affinity Photo this time because I don't have Photoshop no longer, and did alter it a little bit. Sometimes I like to play on the computer too. But at the end I didn't know what to do, so I decided to add it to this page here. This is some of my work which I did print on acetate. Yeah, you can see it better. One of my faces, stamp faces, which for once I just left it in black and white. Follow your dreams, they know the way. This time I did use a collage paper and did print my dress. So that's a mix of two collections which you can do. This piece here is those Angelina fibers, which are actually polyester fibers, which you can melt together, and you can melt together and add a stamp to it. That's what I did here. Let me know if you want a video about this technique. It's not widely spread, I think. She had the soul of a gypsy, the heart of a hippie, the spirit of a fairy. And the background paper, I think it's a collage paper from my collection. Here I did play with jelly print again. I did use some embossing folders for this pattern. I did use one of my stencils and of course acrylic paint. Don't know whether you remember, for a while we did, three of us did, like Marie from Sweden and Eleni from Greece, we did this monthly challenge drawing a face. I don't remember which artist it is, but I did mine based on samples from well-known artists. Again, I decided to add it to this page just so they don't float around. Zeit, die wir uns nehmen, ist Zeit, die uns etwas gibt. It's from Ernst Ferstel, which is an Austrian writer. Time we take for ourselves is time that gives us something in return. Just drawing a face. Actually, it was a stencil again, this part, and then adding the body to it on a fashion catalogue page. Here again a collage with some pieces. This is actually a collage paper from my collection. That is a piece from my husband's chocolate box he became at one point. Then this is again a little bit similar like that, a piece of jelly print with embossing folders and stencils. This is my own stencil. And then here I have this transparency paper, which I did run through the Big Shot with an embossing folder to clean it up. Because if you use your embossing folders for jelly print, they get colorful. Again, some sunflowers already at the end of her life. So, yeah. This is a collage piece where I did use tissue paper to go over an old recipe journal, and then I did add those butterflies. Somebody gave me those, and yeah, with a touch of butterfly smiles bloom. Again, one of those pages where I did roll off my paper and just used it for some vintage photos of San Francisco. They are not my own. Tempi passati, times gone by. Again, a little collage with on a jelly print which I didn't like, so I did add this. They are from magazines. Don't ask me which magazines. I have no idea. Nicht von dieser Welt, out of this world, out of this world. Just have chiseled the page. No, that was actually a white page. Yeah, okay. What was on the back side? See, that was the jelly print. So on the back side it was obviously white. And I did just sketch in a tree and a lady and used some stamps and yeah. Here again, I have newly bought myself those Sumi inks and I really like them. So I did use those together with the Stabilo All to draw a face and then color it in. Courage starts with showing up. This is a piece of a magazine. That's the other part of the photo I did alter, and then I have some die cuts with distress ink. A little sketch which I did add on this old recipe book, because it was this page is very flimsy and I did use mostly collage to stabilize everything. Just use the Stabilo All and a little bit of color, either watercolor or maybe the water-soluble pencils by Garandage. I don't remember. Here you see a little bit more of this recipe journal which I used. Some stuff I did. This is from a magazine. and this is actually a skin from my palette. So sometimes when you let dry the acrylic ink, you can peel it off, so I did add that here. Here I just plainly did, it was a white page, I just did my teapot and my teacup and tea time, just with the watercolor. Those are some of my stencils. This is one of my collage papers again, one of my faces, and then I did add one of those cluster I made a while ago, used it as a dress for her. Remember, you don't need their approval. Again, I didn't do a lot of things here because I did like the page the way it is. It's, by the way, from a Somerset magazine. I did use that, but I did add my birdie, which I did with the micron pen and watercolor, and this was again some silver cardboard from some sweets we had. Sometimes there are those cardboards with silver and gold. I collect them, so I have gold and silver paper, so to speak. Here I made a tag, and that was again, I don't know if you can see, you see all the text, that's still from the Gudrun Sjödén page. I just added one of those brown sewing papers, did sew on this pocket, and the quote is printed on tissue paper. It really melts into the background, so sometimes the grass is greener because it is fake. Now the tag, I did experiment with photo paper, that's why you have the gloss, with I don't remember, I would say it was acrylic ink. And then I added this piece from napkin. Again, this was a page that I did a video on. I just wanted to play with colors. Sometimes there are those days where you feel like, oh, I want to do something, but I just don't feel like serious work. I mean, so I just splashed on some colors, and then I said, okay, what am I gonna do now? Then I did add my stars and my moon and reach for the stars. That's totally okay having those kind of pages. It doesn't have to be always a perfect work like this lady. I mean, I just leave it because it is a reminder for me, you don't get always perfect work. I don't like her at all. For the moment I leave her. As long as I have my journals, I might go in and change things up. Occasionally I do sell my journals, but when I don't sell them, they are not safe. Just saying. Again, here I did actually experiment. Again, there is the gloss, because it is the photo gloss paper, and I did use the distress inks with one of my stencils to make this background look on the bright side. Some of my washi stickers, and that's Tahiti is from a magazine. Now this flap here is from the art journaling retreat last August, and it is from Natasha Dold, and she did this beautiful postcard. We did make postcard for each one, and then I do have tags. Some also, that's from Angela, a tag, and or a little something, and that is also, yeah, straight from the heart. It was really fun, this art journaling retreat. I want to do it again, just to have company and doing things together. I think that's nice. Not sure about the video, but I know this one was a short or a reel on Instagram. Dear self, stay strong. Just playing a little bit with watercolor, with from Creator Color, the oil-based charcoal pencil. Here again I did use I probably did use the Stabilo All, and then I did use watercolors, but also again the Sumi ink, and then for the gold I did use acrylic paint. One of my stencils again. Just a sketch, just leave it as it is. Again, I'm not really happy with that, but I leave it. This was actually one of those jelly print transfers. Again, if I did for a while quite a bit of jelly print transfers from magazines, and in the end I didn't know what to do with them because you can't sell them. It's not my own work, so I just put it in my journal. Art is something that makes you breathe with a different kind of happiness. That's a quote from Annie Albers, or Annie Albers. One of my jelly prints, which, yeah, nothing special, so I did add it here. Again, I did sew it on. You probably can see it. And that's from a magazine again. And that's the back side of, maybe you can see it. Can you read the Select? That's the brand I use for my cat. It's not the only brand, but it's one of the brands I use for my cat. And that's the inside the silver lining of the outer package for the little packaging. Did use again some alcohol ink, and yeah, I have to maybe something like that. Yeah, okay. So this is actually the original I did draw and for my collage papers and my stamps, and then again I don't know what to do with them. I did scan them and use them for stamps, and then I did color it in and plopped it on here. One of my jelly prints, again one of my stencils. You are not your thoughts, you are not your thoughts. We all have those times where we struggle a little bit, don't we? Okay. Here I did use alcohol ink on transparency, and then did use these foils where you can rip it off. That's what this is. When there is too much alcohol ink, it gets sticky, so then you can use, if you want to get rid of the sticky, I use the foils to, like deco art foils. Again, the back is a jelly print which I didn't like so much, and this is again a painting from my aunt, which I did use on photo paper, and then I did work on it a little bit, adding collage, adding that was distress ink again, stitching, fabric, pieces of laces, yeah. Again, this is one of those jelly prints, those image transfer, and the quote I did do on one of those label machines, again, they're rather old. What the heck do you mean by I can't do it? This is a jelly print done with distress inks and embossing folders. That's from my brother's Canon cutter piece, and the background is an old map. Again, I did use, this was already here, and I did use one of my stencils and did add this piece here. Lucy in the Sky. Some musical notes, again my combination where you can add your, if you compare, where is the other one? I think I had another one here, but I don't remember where. Yeah, if you compare this, or the legs are very short, but here I took them longer, so you can play, mix and match how you like the things together. Some butterflies, wings, and from the song Lucy in the Sky. That I did lately. I was trying out something on some paper, just a little bit read with Weihnachtszeit, Christmas time. Then I did lately join the free Zen stitching, something like that, where you can watch a lot of videos and get inspired. And there was one, I will put the name of her Instagram handle somewhere here, because she did provide a template, because I can't stitch straight or regular or something like that, and she provided a template to do that. So that's what I did with her hair. Manchmal denkt man zu viel nach, anstatt einfach zu leben, glücklich zu sein. Sometimes you think too much instead of just living and being happy. And those are, by the way, I did print them on photo paper again. Those are I do sell cards from my work, so that was one of that. The same here, and I especially like this with the protector, where she provided to go around the face. I really have to play with that a little bit more. I have more ideas what I want to do. Background again is a roll of paper. Lächeln ist ein Geschenk, das sich jeder leisten kann. Smiling is a gift that everyone can afford. Again, one of my watercolor paintings. Leftover paper, just adding a face, sketching a face, playing with the Derwent ink tints and doing the face, adding some splatters, and just gluing onto the page here, which was a newspaper, the small newspaper we have. Time spent with cats is never wasted. Who doesn't agree? Yeah. And this was actually a napkin just in black and white, and I just added it, just glued in with some matte medium, and then colored in a little bit like my cat looks like. I have a 3-color cat. Here I have used on the background just leftover paints I had in some paintings or works I did on both sides, by the way. So, and I thought, what am I gonna do with that? And then I have those. I do a lot of things like that where I just play around. So this is actually a collage here, and the rest is drawn in. So pick and mix. For the vase over here, I actually did use a magazine page, which there was some knitting. I thought would be fun to have a knitted vase. Not very practical, but it looked fun. Again, from a magazine, some of my doodles. Again, I did use a little bit of a jelly print, added some tissue, no, not tissue, napkin, some of my hand-drawn doodles, some of my stamps. That's a stamp of mine also, and that's again, the background is a photo from a mushroom. Wild, schön und im ewigen Wandel. Wild, beautiful and in constant change. This is again one from those postcards we did as a challenge, 3 Girls, 3 Faces. Where we did do backgrounds and then send each other, and when we did draw faces on it. She could have taken the world by storm, but she chose to use her sunshine. A piece of an old lace I had, and that's the other part of the envelope. That's something I did recently, and we had snow. So I was really inspired by having some winter scene. So I don't know whether you can read it, but I have silver written winter, Herz, winter heart. That was a page where I had some light stuff going on, so I just did add, again, drawing a face, dear me. And that's again one of my faces which I did print on photo paper. Then I added some stamping with distress ink, finding peace, and the background is a jelly print. And here I have a little envelope where I have some tags in, made from card boxes from tissue, and I don't know whether you can see it, yeah. Lieblingsstück. It's enjoy nature. Again, my printed faces, added some antenna, and this is a piece from some experiment. Here I did add a piece of a fashion catalogue and the backgrounds. The envelope was actually a gift somebody gave me, and I thought it's a nice envelope, I'm gonna keep it. And that's the back side. I didn't do a lot to the back side, I just left it as it is. So that's it, my finished journal. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope to see you again, and don't forget to check out my other videos. Give me a like, share them, I would really appreciate that. Take care, bye.